Hello, everyone. How's it going? Azren, the language nerd here. I am the owner of the Calgary Language Nerds. We are a business that offers classes for a wide variety of foreign languages. And I'm happy to say that we're able to work with all ages and all levels of fluency, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, and no matter how fluent or perhaps not fluent you are, we have a tutor that can help you achieve your fluency goals. And welcome to another video in this series that I've been putting together on how to learn another language. A quick housekeeping item before we start today. First of all, check out the new virtual background. I decided I'd switch it up today. Hopefully you like it. And second of all, I added something on my website today on the home page of this website, which is azrenthelanguagenerd.com/free course. AZ or ZREN, thelanguagenerd.com/free course. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, or rather, that's where the button is now. I might redesign the website in the future. So as of right now, it's at the very bottom. There is a button to leave a donation. This course is obviously free, but it's taken lots of my own time, as well as a few other people who've been integral in helping put this course together. It's taken a lot of our time and a lot of effort, not to mention the videos and the constant edits and things of that nature. So if you're not going to purchase the workbooks, if you're not going to take classes with my business, I would appreciate at a minimum a donation. That would mean the world. That would mean the world to me. So if you go to azrenthelanguagenerd.com/free course, you are going to find a button on that page where you can leave a donation. You can leave as much or as little as you would like, depends on whatever you are able to afford. And with that aside, let's dive into today's video. And I'm going to share my screen. Today is going to be a double whammy. I would like to try and I'd like to try and complete two different steps today. Normally, we've been doing one step per video for the most part. I would like to try and get two steps done today. So I'd like to talk about food, but I'd also like to, if we scroll up ahead here, I'd also like to get into clothes and fashion. We'll see if we can do it. Maybe I can, maybe I won't. We'll see how long it takes, but that's my goal in the video today. So get ready to move quickly because I'm going to try and get through the content in a thorough way, but also a little bit faster than usual. Here we go. As always, we start the chapter off with our vocabulary practice. And so speak with your tutor or speak with your language exchange partner and ask them how you would say the following words. Alternatively, as you always could. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take a step back. I forgot. There is no word list for this. Ha, I forgot. Sorry. Slightly different format for this chapter, ever so slightly. Instead of me providing you with a list of words to learn, what I decided to do is give you a grocery list activity. That way you can learn the foods that are the most relevant for you. Okay, so instead of me giving you a bunch of words to learn, you're going to learn words that are very important to you. So you're going to make a list of everything that you buy grocery wise. What do you buy for fruits? What do you buy for meats? What do you buy for vegetables? What do you buy in the bakery section? What do you buy? You're going to make that list in English. You are then going to speak with your language exchange partner or your tutor, and you're going to ask him or her, how do I say all of these different words in the target language? Alternatively, you can always, of course, use Google or an online dictionary or YouTube or things of that nature to figure out how to say these words. Just make sure that you double check these words with your tutor or language exchange partner to make sure that they are correct. Okay. And once you have that grocery list, you can write it on this page for those of you that purchase the workbook. I'm very proud of the design of this page. I know it's super simple, but I was very, very proud of myself. I actually designed this page myself. Sometimes I use like templates or like other people had input on the design of the book and things like that. But this is fully like I kind of made this design. Like I picked out the fonts and the images. So I'm very, very pleased with myself on this page. It took me a long time to make just the one page. Um, so you can write the grocery list out on this page. You can make as many copies of this page as you wish. Um, Anything else I want to say? Yes, and I'd like you to use this grocery list every time. In fact, I'd like you to rewrite your grocery list every time you go buy food. Rewrite it in your target language. That's going to really get those foods drilled into your mind, and take it with you and actually read the words and actually use that as your grocery list. Use it. It's a great way to help you to get those food words. Maybe there's 20 things on the list. Get them in your mind at a deeper level. As a bonus, when you're buying these things, look at the prices and ask yourself, how would I say those prices in my target language? Because in the previous lessons, we talked about numbers, right? So this is a real world way for you to practice your numbers. Next, we have our language practice section where we're going to practice and work on expressing likes and dislikes. Now, there's lots of different words that you can use to express your likes and dislikes, not to mention every single language has their own systems of describing likes and dislikes. It's not the same in every single language. It can depend, it can vary, if that makes sense, which is basically what's written on this little yellow sticky note here. But make sure you speak with your tutor or speaking partner to figure out, like, how do you express likes and dislikes? So in Spanish, you don't say, for example, I like. It doesn't translate to I like. It's a different structure. Um, Even in Gujarati, for example, slightly different structure than in English. Mandarin, similar structure as English. You just say I like. It's quite straightforward. But make sure you figure that out and dig into the structural differences and figure out, ask your tutor, like, hey, why is it said this way? What's going on? Learn the structures behind it and practice those structures. I've put a list of things here that you might choose to learn. As a reminder, don't limit yourself just to these words. There's other words and phrases that matter to you in this section. Make sure you learn those too. So I've written I adore, I love, I like, I dislike, and I hate. For languages that have conjugations, right? French, Spanish, German, I think Russian has some too. I don't speak Russian, but I believe Russian does. Like, lots of languages have conjugations. Conjugations, if you don't know what those are, it's where the spelling of the verb, aka the word adore, right, changes. It changes based on um, who is doing the adoring. It also, in English anyway, changes based on when you were adoring someone. For instance, I adore my dog. I adore my dog, I might say. But I would never say he adore his dog. That's just silly. We say he adores his dog. That, what do you call it? The phenomenon where you add an S at the end to make it adores, that is an example of a conjugation. Or I used to adore, right? We say I used to adore. That's not exactly a conjugation because adore is still the same, but we had to add this used to, and this used to is a sentence pattern in English that we use that has a different meaning than simply saying I adore. Or, for instance, right, I adored, right? We add an ed, I adored cats as a child, but I don't anymore. Now we have this ed ending. That's another form of conjugation. So many languages have these conjugations. And if there are conjugations, there may be value in you learning, how do you say you adore? How do you say he adores, she adores, we adore, they adore? This might be a good time to learn some of those, right? Don't just limit yourself to the I's, okay? Like I adore, I love, I like. Don't just limit yourself to those. If there's a It's kind of funny as I'm making this and I'm thinking about this course as I'm making it, this might be something I have to address in future videos and future lessons, or maybe I go back and fix it afterwards. But I'm thinking about, there's a pro to using this program, which comes with a con. The pro with this program, it's a really big pro, I think, is that it's a customizable program, and this program leaves you room to make it your own. You can work at your own speed, you can move ahead, you can skip things. There's lots of room for you to learn additional phrases that I don't teach you. You have to go in sometimes above and beyond the program a little bit to really get the best use out of it. Like, there's a lot here, right? there's a lot that's fully in your control. And I think that's also the inherent downside, because certain people that need a high level of direction, like do this, do this, do this, do this, may not really go above and beyond. So, but I don't know, maybe I don't know if there is a better way to lay it out. I don't know if there's a better solution. Do I lay everything out, every little thing? Like, that seems so controlling. And if you just fill out a workbook and just fill it out, like, is that beneficial? I don't know. Does that become too drill based? For example, the Foreign Service Institute has some courses, and I haven't completed them myself, but based on one video. I've only watched one review video, so take this with a grain of salt. But the one review video I watched said it's incredibly boring, and it's just drills over drills over drills over drills, and it's boring as hell. And like, I feel like my course could potentially become something like that, and I don't want it to be that. So just some thoughts that I'm having right now as I'm recording this video. Okay. Now we have a writing practice, which is describing food. So you have this grocery list, right, written in your target language. Now you get to describe each of the foods on your list. Maybe you have some pie. You might say, oh, pie is sweet. Maybe you have apples on your list, and you're going to say apples are crunchy, right? You might have broccoli. Broccoli is green. Again, there's going to be a lot of adjectives here, and you probably don't know how to say them, in fact. But this is a great time to speak with your language exchange partner, talk to him or her and be like, hey, I'm trying to say this. How do I say this? How do I say that? What do I do here? Or, if you don't have, let's say it's a Monday and your class with your tutors on like Friday, what you might choose to do is use Google Translate or an online dictionary or YouTube for the time being, right, to learn, and then just double check it with your tutor after and ask him or her and make sure that it's correct. So that's a nice writing exercise you can do. And you can use the following sheet here if you purchase the workbook to actually complete that exercise. And lastly, we have, or is it the last thing actually? I believe it is. Oh no, second last. The second last thing is our speaking practice. So you're going to book a time with your speaking partner or your tutor, and you're going to discuss different foods that are eaten in their country, right? And they ask, like, what do you eat? What's in that food? How do you make it? Ask him or her lots of questions about the different foods they eat, and be prepared for you to also share what kinds of foods you eat in your home country, right? Make sure you're prepared to do that too. I noticed here I'm missing a period after country. I'm going to fix that afterwards. Make sure that's nice and tight. Make sure it's, there's no grammar errors and punctuation errors. I'll add a period there. You could even use the next page for your notes or any recipes you may choose to write, or how to make certain foods. I highly encourage you to do that. And then try, right? Use a lot of the new words you've learned, right, as you're discussing and exchanging information with your tutor or language exchange partner. Like, chit chat and like try to use a lot of the new words you learned in this chapter here. And lastly, we have recipe videos. Now, this is something that the whole food chapter is a funny one, because you could spend weeks and weeks and months on this chapter, because there's so many food related words and terms and cooking words and verbs, and you could go really deep on this chapter, to be honest. You could spend months on this chapter if you wanted to, and rinse and repeat a lot of these exercises. But find a recipe on how to cook something, but in your target language, right? How do you make a pie? How do you do this? How do you make that? How do you cook chicken? How do you boil this? How do you blah, 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 blah? How do you make French toast? Who cares what it is? How do you make paella? Or like, Google it or YouTube it rather, and watch some of these recipes videos and take some notes. You're going to learn a lot of words, as we always do in these listening activities, right? Right. Maybe watch the video twice. Once where you like watch it for learning purposes and you're like trying to understand the best you can. You're writing down timestamps for words and phrases you like maybe don't fully understand. And then the second time you watch it, or the third time you watch it, maybe you actually try to cook along with the video and try and actually follow along, right? And of course, we have our extra notes page here. Okay, I think we're making good time. Let's go on immediately to clothes and fashion, which is the next step here. You may need to pause here and like actually work on the stuff in step 6 and revisit this video, which is totally fine, but I'm going to keep going. Let's try and get 2 things done at once today. Clothes and fashion are super important. Like, these are very common words that we use: sweaters and jackets and shoes and socks, etc. So there's a lot here that I think is important to learn. So think about what you actually wear and label these pictures below. And now, if there's any clothing items that I didn't include here, quite simply in the additional notes section, like make a note of them yourself because there's so many clothing items and you can get so specific with this that like I've given you a starting point on these words, but there's going to be a lot more that I encourage that you probably should learn. Um, so speak with your language exchange partner, speak with your tutor, or use Google, an online translator, YouTube to figure out how to say these words. So we have clothes, fashion, coat, jacket, hat. Uh, and by the way, hat actually has two meanings now that I'm looking at this again. Hat could be like the hat, this kind of like winter hat that I've put in this program, or it could be like what I'm wearing on my head now, like a cap. Could kind of go either way. Or could be a fedora, like could be lots of different kinds of hats, but a suit, dress, tie, t-shirt, shirt, hoodie, sweater, pants. Well, I said this once before, pants in the UK is a different meaning. Pants are actually underwear in the UK and like in the UK, so it's kind of funny, but in Canada, US, pants are like jeans and such, but skirt, underwear, socks, shoes, boots, runners, or trainers or sneakers or whatever word you use in your country, sandals. Yeah, sandals. But of course, go beyond this. Like there's so many words you could learn clothing wise. Like you don't have to limit yourself to these. In fact, this is just a great starting point, and you're going to probably should learn more than simply these, to be honest with you. I'd probably go and learn like let's see here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. There's 20 words here. That's probably a great start, actually. 20 is a pretty darn good start. But as you are going through like your lessons with your tutor or your language exchange partner, like be open to learning other words as you chit chat with them and discuss, right? So we've now reached this descriptive adjective section, right? And this is a really useful, this is a big section. And this is another one where no matter how advanced, it's not true. Even when you get more and more advanced than what you are now, there's going to be so many adjectives you just don't know. I've spoken French for 23 years, and there are like, what did I just read the other day? I just read something the other day, and I was like, how do I not know that word after 23 years? I can't remember what it was, but it was like a pretty common adjective, and I was like, how do I not know that verb? Like 23 years later, like what? How do I not know that word? Like, wow. So that's going to happen. And for those of you that have achieved a high level of fluency in another language, you know that, once you're at that upper intermediate, well, not upper intermediate, once you're at the advanced phase, now all you have is an infinite number of vocabulary. Like there's always new words to learn, and language evolves over time. And so this is a really crucial chapter here, a crucial piece of this unit. But understand that there's no way you're ever going to be able to memorize every single adjective and word and such. You're just going to be able to learn some of the more common ones and such. So, okay. So I've put some on the page here in little clouds. So what you're going to do is let's kind of skip ahead here. We have a list of words to learn that I've given you. We have beautiful, ugly, boring, interesting, useful, fun, common, strange, and of course, I've provided another page here for you to write your own adjectives that you'd like to learn. So speak with your language exchange partner, speak with your tutor, use Google, use YouTube, use the internet, and learn how to say these words. I don't remember. Let me just double check here. No, I didn't. I haven't provided you any writing exercises for you to make sentences with these, but I encourage you to like actually write out, let's say 2 to 3 practice sentences with each of these adjectives and get them corrected by your language exchange partner or your tutor. Here we go. Now there's a writing practice here that I've given you some sentences to translate into the target language. So you can go ahead and do that. We have, she's wearing a blue shirt. My shoes don't fit. I'm trying on some new clothes. They're doing laundry today. Ultimately, as I'm looking at this now, the main purpose here of what I was trying to do with this writing practice is to get you writing some practice sentences using clothing related words and again in trying to figure out how to say them, trying to figure out how do you say these words, right? And ask for help when you need it, because you will need it. You will need help. You won't know how to say these things half the time. And you got to figure out how to say them because these are important things. And so ultimately do these 4 sentences. But I think the real learning you're going to have is, in this chapter here, when you're going through these adjectives, even like 2 to 3 sentences with each adjective, and do the other writing practice and do your speaking practice. Like, try to form as many different types of sentences as you can in different ways and figure out how you'd say them. Ask for help, right? Get a lot of input too, like, and pay attention. How do native speakers, or how does your language exchange partner, how do they phrase sentences around these topics? And try to imitate those, copy those. Input's a really big piece of output. Listening will feed your speaking. Reading will often feed your writing, and vice. It's a big piece to it. So if you're paying close attention and being mindful to imitate what you're hearing and what you're seeing. Which brings us to our speaking practice. So you're going to ask your tutor or speaking partner the following questions in the target language, and just make sure you're ready to talk about these to yourself. So what do you usually wear to work or to a party, to another occasion? Write these out and actually talk about these. Do you prefer wearing shoes or sandals, pants or skirts? Right? Ask, what do you prefer wearing, and give some options. When do you do laundry? How would you describe yourself and your fashion sense? And of course, invent other questions. These are just, this is a starting point. Right? Invent others and talk about fashion, like talk about clothes and fashion. Learn what fashion is like in your target language's country. It's a great thing to learn about. Which takes us to our listening practice here. We're going to watch some fashion videos. Now, myself, I don't particularly care for these because I don't really care about fashion. You guys probably can tell I wear the same hat every time. And here's the crazy thing. Not only do I wear the same hat every time, I'll buy the same hat, like multiple variations of the same hat. So when this hat becomes too disgusting to wear, I just get the new version of the same hat. So no one even knows I changed my clothes. Like, no one's noticed I've gotten new glasses. I have new glasses. No one's cared because I got basically the same pair. The only way you can tell is these ones are white on the inside. The other ones were not. Anyway, so that's me. But then again, still a useful activity to do, I believe. So you're going to go to YouTube and you'll search in your target language, fashion tips for men or women, men's, women's fashion, or maybe even something like men or women's wardrobe. You're going to get lots of fashion videos. I mean, what's cool, I'm going to go on a tangent. What's cool about learning another language is, especially when you follow this program that I put together, you're not only going to learn um, about like another language and learn how to speak another language. You're going to learn a lot about like culture, and you're going to explore so many things that you would never explore in your own mother tongue. Lord, like the number of things I've learned because I speak other languages that I would have never learned, that have nothing to do with language, is crazy. I was watching these Spanish fashion videos with some students, and like I learned so many things, like boyfriend jeans and a washed out color, and like how the high rise is in and the skinny jeans are out, and this and that, and how your earrings have, like, your accessories have to match, and how some people buy two pairs of glasses because this pair of glasses matches their shoes and their belt matches this, and they have, it's just, anyway, you'll learn a lot of things, and maybe it interests you, maybe not, but hey, yay for expanding your horizons. And of course, as you're watching these videos, don't forget to do the listening activity, right? Catch as much of it as you can, pay close attention, try and understand what you can. But then again, you're going to write down those 10 to 20 timestamps every video you watch. Always 10. This is like a religious activity. You have to do this all the time. 10 and 20 timestamps every single time of stuff you didn't quite catch. And you're going to talk to your language exchange partner, figure out what was said, dig into the grammar, dig into what was said, do some practice sentences, right? Try to figure it out. We get to our extra notes page for any additional notes. And of course, we are now at Hobbies and Sports. Guys, we're now at page 112 out of 130, I believe. We should be able to. Let me look here. There's one chapter. It's a long one. Wow, it's a really long chapter, that one. Oh, is that the last chapter? No way. That can't be the last chapter. No way. Is that the last chapter, guys? Hobbies and Sports? Let me just double check. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last chapter. Huh. I believe it is. I believe it is. I believe it is. Yes, it is, guys. That's the last chapter. So the next video is the last one of level 2. Hallelujah. Isn't that great? You're getting there, guys. You're getting there. Completing level 2 is a big accomplishment. Yeah, it's a big accomplishment. It's a really big one. So you're right at the edge, guys. You're right there. You're getting close to finishing level 2. So okay, everyone. Well, I'm Azren, the language nerd, as always, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds. Please check out the paid services that we offer, I'd appreciate that. That's the best way you can kind of support the business, and show your appreciation for this course and everything we do. Um, if you're not going to take classes with us or not accepting new students or whatever it is, I would at a minimum appreciate a donation. Visit azrenthelanguagenerd.com/free course. That is AZ or Z REN thelanguagenerd.com/free course. There's going to be a button on that page to leave a donation. That would be highly appreciated. Okay, everyone, have a great day. I appreciate it. We'll chat soon. Bye for now.